Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics Less Non-Classics. This is episode number 1627 and Doubleshot number 1521. Yeah, this one I'm pretty much covering a complete collection plus some issues of this particular, for this review. Okay, first up it is from Mark Milar. Yes, Mark Milar. Let me take a look at something here just to be on the safe side here. Alright, here we go. Alright, this one is The Ultimates, the Complete Collection by Mark Milar and Brian Hitch. Yeah, this book came out in 2002 and finished up in 2004. Yeah, March 02 to April 2004. You're thinking, 13 issues. Why the heck did it take a little over 2 years to release this book? Book was released once every couple months. Why the heck was this? Because Mark Milar has got this bad reputation where a lot of books he's usually on tend to get delayed for absolute reason at all. Since I've been reading comic books, of course, this actually was coming out just prior to me starting reading comic books. But basically, the only ones I could personally think of, there's like maybe 2 of them I can think of, where that actually came out on time by Mark Milar. Actually, maybe 3. There is Fantastic Four. Yeah, from what I can tell, his run did come on time. There was also Jupiter's Legacy, and Ultimate Avengers. And that's it. Those are the only 3 books I could personally think of that he worked on that actually came out on time. Because this book and Kick-Ass took a long time to release. Now, the very first issue is a World War II era epic issue. The first arc is called Superhuman, the second one's called Homeland Security, which both take up, I think the first one takes up the first 6 issues, and the next one's 7 issues. The first issue just the ultimate debuts of Captain America and Bucky Barnes. The Bucky Barnes is not the teenage sidekick from World War II. Nope. He's just a regular soldier who just happened to be a friend of Captain America. Oh, and by the way, they give him a slight redesign for his costume. Mostly, but I like the Captain America costume he's got here with the belt. It makes sense for him to wear this. Now, when you see this suit, you're like, wait, that looks like the suit that pops up in the MCU. Which, yeah, it does. Because the MCU version of this character basically is based upon this particular look. Yes. Now, in the case of the other characters for this book, now basically you just have, basically it's typical World War II style thing where he basically gets involved with an accident, puts him on ice for actually longer than the actual original version of the character. The original version of Captain America was on ice for 20 years. This one was on ice for 57 years. But when they adapted this movie, they said 58. They actually had one more year. They kept adding every time, basically, they adapt this in modern day. Like in the movie, basically, I think in Captain America First Avenger, popped in modern day, he was actually asleep for 70 years. Yep. Now, technically, you're probably thinking, who the heck is that weird-looking armor robot? That's actually Iron Man. And no, this book was not his debut. He actually made his debut in Ultimate Marvel number 4. Yep, he did. In the case of the other ones, Giant Man the Wasp, which, by the way, this actually is Hank Pym. Yep. Now, he himself did appear in this book. As a matter of fact, the entire team of Ultimates do, in fact, appear in the very second issue of the series. Not the first issue, just the second issue. And you're thinking, why the heck would the team appear in the second issue of this run? So, Wasp's first appearance was actually in Was it really this book? Let me take a look here. Yeah. Wasp first appearance was Ultimate 2. That was technically her first appearance. Giant Man was actually Ultimate Spider-Man number 14. Yep. Yeah, and pretty much he becomes Giant Man. This book also had a debut of Stark Industries, S.H.I.E.L.D., though not the first appearance of Bruce Banner or Nick Fury. Bruce Banner's first appearance was back in Ultimate Team number 2. Because that book pretty much debuted everybody. But Nick Fury, oh boy, they kept changing their minds exactly what the heck his first appearance even frickin' was. Like, it claims that, oh, Ultimate Team number 5. Nope, not his first appearance. Then they claim his first appearance actually X-Men. With him with actually his hair. Nope. So, the official first appearance of him was Ultimates number 2. Yeah, because Marvel kept retconning him for some strange reason. I have no idea why. Yes. Yeah, they pretty much in a way kept changing basically their mind what would be his first appearance. And then we also have Thor. Yes. And he looks like this. Yep, that's Thor. You're probably thinking, what the heck does his hammer look like? Well, it looks like a frickin' axe. Well, that's simply what it is. So, it's weird enough that the premier superhero team of the Ultimate Universe at this point in time did not have an ongoing series. Oh no, they didn't. As for why they didn't, I have no idea. It's particularly quite odd. So, throughout the first few issues, they basically trying to put the team together. Captain America's found ice, and of course he does break out, and of course he is taken down by Giant Man of all people, where he's stopped by him. In the case of the movie, he's stopped when he goes outside. Yeah, they changed this for the Ultimate Avengers movie, which did adapt this. Excuse me, yep. So, how do they come together? In the most dumbest way possible. By having the Hulk go on a rampage. Yes, the Hulk. Who ends up killing 300 people. Yep, and how does his rampage start? By having Bruce Banner get jealous of the fact Betty Ross is hanging out with, get this, Freddie Prinze Jr. No, I am not kidding about that. He's serious. She's like, oh, Freddie Prinze Jr. And by the way, how the heck they stop the Hulk is quite by far one of the most hilarious ways possible. One of the ways to help beat him. By the way, we have an appearance in here by, oh, you're going to love this, President George H.W. Bush. Yes. Well, actually, it's George W. Bush, who at the time was president at the time, so of course make an appearance in this book. Though in the regular universe, they made a parody of him. Yes, for some reason, they made a parody of him in the 6th universe. Here, he's pretty much normal. He says this, what's the 21st century, Captain America? Cool or uncool? Cool, Mr. President. Definitely cool. Yep. By the way, the Hulk in this universe, he looks like something else. So, the Hulk looks like this. And the old universe is like, rah! And basically is like, Betty! Yep. So, he goes on a rampage. And of course, he flies like the Grand Central Station. I've actually been here. Yeah, I've been here. So, one of the ways they distract them is by far one of the most hilarious ways possible. So, Ross is like, she's like, hey, Banner, Betsy Ross got a rack as nice as this. And he's like, huh? And what does she do? Take off her top. Yeah, seriously, she flashes her breast right at him. And that apparently distracts him long enough to, while everybody else basically just taking him on. Thor comes in, able to take him down mostly. But after he's basically stopped and then he has to kick in the face, he's pretty much arrested on the spot. And he pretty much spends a lot of the remainder of this book inside of a cage. This cage would make an appearance in the MCU. Yes, it would. In the very first Avengers movie. Yep. So after all that, they think, okay, so despite thinking he went on a rampage, he was not exactly fully in control of his, ideals. Then, of course, basically, we have one of the most dumbest scenes happen in this book. Mark Milar wrote this, so... Okay, so... Janet is going to a party to basically celebrate the formation of the Ultimates. Hank Pym decides to be a dick. How? Well, basically, Janet Von Dyne, I should point out though, she's Asian in this universe, and she's a mutant. Yep, she's a mutant. So basically, every time she shrinks, her wings pop up. Yeah, and then of course, basically, apparently she basically talks down to him by super soldiers, and he slaps her. Yes, he slaps her. By the way, in the Six-Man universe, that immediately caused Janet Von Dyne to divorce him. Here, they beat the crap out of each other with and then everybody's wondering what the heck basically Janet and Hank are. So Hank does something really stupid. Yes. He sprays his wife with bug spray, and then he does the most evil thing possible. He sicks his ants on his own wife. Yes, Hank does this. So, everyone's wondering, Jan's like, oh no, what has he done? You beat up your wife, man! So, everybody basically is so mourning about the death of the Hulk, and of course they find out what happened to Janet. And, of course, they ban her in his cell. Oh, by the way, we also have Steve reunite with his old friend Bucky, who's actually married his girlfriend Gail, who was actually, I believe, was his fiance. Yeah, they got married and had grandkids. Oh, and it's also true that Steve's got some nieces and nephews who Nick Fury is like, oh, I can arrange me with them. And he's like, that will be necessary. They have no idea who the heck I am. So, then it's revealed exactly that this is not the first time this happened. Oh no. Janet has beaten it by Hank so many times. Mentioned that basically he split her lip. He broke the roof of her mouth. Yes, he seriously did this. Yeah, and Tony's probably like, despite the fact he drinks, he would never actually hit a woman. I'm sure he's probably sick of this. So, and of course, Thor is basically doing his own thing. Also, halfway through this story, halfway through this book, we have Hawkeye and Black Widow joining the team. And then Steve is basically like, okay, I'll go look for him. Goes look for Hank. And they also add Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch to the roster. Yes, they do. Except they don't do anything in this book. Nope, they claim they did something. Nope, they don't. This way, mission. And of course, everything's okay-ish. They claim, oh yeah, slow it down. Basically, despite the fact the whole thing with Hank, we actually have sort of build up to toward the end of this book. The Shatari. Yep. So, Steve finds Hank Pym. He's like, a word of your ear, Dr. Pym. What are you watching, Pym? Anything interesting? And outside, so he basically beats the bejesus out of him. Hank goes giant size butt naked. This is actually the second time he's done this. So basically, Captain America beats the crap out of him. And he gets embarrassed and he gets arrested on the spot for what he did. Yep. Hank gets arrested. Yes, here's a much more better look at the Iron Man suit. Yes, this suit, I am not a fan of the design. It looks more like a robotic suit than what the traditional thing is. Also, apparently, whenever Tony Stark is in this suit, he's covered with this goo whenever he comes out, which I thought was kind of weird. So, Steve thinks basically he might be good with Janet because he beat the crap out of her husband for being a dick. So eventually, of course, they do become a couple. So they go investigate this base, this mysterious base, and of course, there's a flashback to World War II. We see this guy here. His name is Kaiser. Yes, seriously, his name is Kaiser, and he's a shapeshifter. Now, the Chitauri in the old universe were meant to be the ultimate version of the Skrulls. That's simply put what they are. Except they're more of traditional shapeshifters, similar to that of the Dominion from, well, basically the founders from Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So, this big, humongous armed force of, get this, 40,000 troops go to this one island that apparently says, oh yeah, there's something wrong. And of course, Jen knows something wrong, so she kills like a fake nurse who actually is Chitauri. And meanwhile, though, Thor, basically, who has scouted the place, finds there's nothing here. And Nick Fury's like, really? Our side people, basically, and turns out. And the thing is, Thor actually agrees with, now Iron Man actually agrees with Thor. There's nobody here. Yeah, and turns out it's actually a trap. And there's a big explosion killing a lot of people. So apparently S.H.I.E.L.D.'s taken over by the Chitauri. And this happened in Micronesia. So, by the way, Janet does ask when she's actually captured by Kaiser. He asks him, why do you have German names even though you're aliens? Because we find it more comfortable. We don't actually have names. Like, okay, that's actually interesting. It's very interesting character development there. So, then we have this alien ship shows up, and it seems as though that the Chitauri basically were in a big hurry, because a lot of their ships look like they're not even finished. Like, take a look at this 2-page spread here. Like, there are holes in this ship. Like, it's like these ships basically were just fresh off the construction line, and they just had to get here. They had to invade Earth right this second. So it pretty much Mark Millar just rips off Independence Day here with having the Ultimates pretty much take on the Chitauri, which are pretty much the aliens take on. They're basically standing in for the aliens for Independence Day, and it's a big action sequence. And oh yeah, there is an infamous scene in this particular story arc where Cap says this to Kaiser. He says this: I'll surrender her, Kaiser. Make it quick. And of course, Cap's like, surrender? Surrender? Do you think the letter on my hand stands for France? Yes, he says this because he hates France. Despite the fact that the 616 universe, he has no problem with France. As a matter of fact, Peggy Carter was actually buried in France in the 616 universe several years after this. So, he beats the crap out of him. The Hulk is sent after him. Yes, the frickin' Hulk. And of course, he beats the crap out of him. Like, wait, get out of here. And of course, Hulk's like, Blue Man was your friend. What a stupid know about Blue Man Eddie Ross. Blue Man tell Hulk to squeeze his head. Like, Hulk, you don't understand. This is about your girlfriend. He's like, what the hell? This stupid Blue Man know about Betty Ross. The Blue Man tell me to squeeze his head. Nothing much besides the fact that the guy over there says he's been all over the whole time he's been solitary. He's like, he basically beats the crap out of him. It's like, Nick guy thinks Hulk's stupid. Nick guy thinks Hulk is not fine out by yes. Hulk is like so jealous. He basically beats the crap out of him. It's so funny. And he gets on intercom after basically he just beats the living crap out of Kaiser. And of course, Sharon Carter and Wanda are basically trying to take back S.H.I.E.L.D. And then pretty much we have Cap basically teasing Hulk more. He's like, attention Hulk, this is Captain America speaking again. You see those spacecraft up in the sky? The big triangular machines? Well, I was talking to pilots earlier. You know, they told me. They told what they said about you, Hulk. These guys called you a sissy boy, buddy. You really gonna let go with that? And Hulk's like, No, Hulk's not sissy boy. Hulk is straight. He does, as he basically... So, he pretty much just smashes all the alien spaceships. Like, oh my gosh. Of course, Iron Man and Thor help save the girls. And Hulk just smashes all the Chitauri spaceships. Oh yeah, he does. Everything hunky-dory, and of course Jan's like, now officially we're superheroes. Because it helps save the world. And of course you have Black Widow you have Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch like, yay, we saved the world. And Widow's like, really? I didn't see you. Slow down the security pictures, you'll find us. Yeah. Doing nothing. They'll probably do a lot more next book. So yeah, despite the fact 40,000 died, and despite the fact Hulk did help save the world, he's put back into solitary confinement because he's going to be put on trial next book. And the thing is, despite the fact that Hulk pretty much basically beat the crap out of Kaiser, basically was even trying to eat him. Yes, the Hulk was trying to eat Kaiser. There's a little bit left, and he's like, tucked away. And Kaiser himself was never seen again. No, seriously, he was never seen again after this. Oh no. Yeah, Kaiser is pretty much gone after this volume wraps up here. Yeah, as for the Chitauri themselves, I don't think they appear again. Eric Kaiser is pretty much dead at this point. He got killed off with a few issues. And you might ask, okay, does the Chitauri appear again? The Ultimate version? I don't think they do. I don't think they do. Yeah, the Ultimate version of these people do not appear again. No. They never appear again after this. Nope, this is the last time the Chitauri ever appeared in the Ultiverse. The next time they would actually appear, well, that's not in some tie-in comic book, was actually in the pages of Nova. Yep, that would actually be their next actual appearance in the 616 universe. But the Ultiverse, the Chitauri are gone. They're basically, and then we have like a party celebrating basically saving the world, and then we have Janet and Steve start a relationship with each other, and basically stand on boys. We're basically gonna have champagne. They just saved the world. I gotta say, this is kind of actually pretty good. I really enjoyed this. I give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, there's five some kind of gross stuff here, but it's got a good ending to it. And you're thinking, like, why the heck wasn't this ongoing? The answer is, I have no idea. Yeah, it's by far one of the most baffling things when it comes to Marvel Comics. Of course, there was a second volume to this. Also, the Milar, which lasts 16 issues. I'm reviewing it now. No, I'll review that later. I'm going to check something here just to be sure about this. Yeah. Okay. So now I'm going to discuss basically 4 issues I was not able to get in trade paperback. Now, this basically comes from Fantastic Four, Volume 4. I'm covering issues 4 through 8. I'm not covering the AU book, this way I could come at this point, because I technically covered this book already when I talk about Age of Ultron. Mostly put these issues, by the way, this book is written by Matt Fraction and art by Mark Bagley. Yep. Yeah, and I think these were the last special issues that... No, I think comes up later. Let me just checking just to be sure. Okay, here we go. Yeah, that would actually be the very next book. I will discuss that. Yes. Now, in these issues, the Fantastic Four are off in space, and they arrive at an alien planet. And they stay here for the next few issues, not wandering planet to planet. They go to this alien planet, where apparently they're worshipped as gods as soon as they get there. Yep. So we kind of have a flashback of how Reed first met Sue in the past. Yeah, this kind of leads into their potential romance years later. Yeah, the romance leads to romance, marriage, and 2 kids. Who Marvel half the time does not care to age up at all, because Like, it takes Marvel, like, here's the thing. Valerie Richards made his debut back, I think it was like in the 70s, I think it was. It was in Fantastic Four Annual number 6. That was his very first appearance. And if you wonder how old he is currently, he is rumored to be 8 years old. Though I think he could be a teenager by now. Yeah, so I would probably say he is roughly probably about 10 years old by now. His sister, his beautiful sister, Valerie Richards. By the way, she was actually not around for very long, per se. No, her first appearance was actually, believe it or not, only about 19 years ago. Yep, and she is, well, as about 6 years ago, she actually was 3, so I think she's about 4 or 5 by now. Yes, like Franklin, she ages very slowly. So, we're going to use up this alien species, which they kind of, in a way, get their own. They have a flashback of, well, more of the romance of Reed and Sue. They do the whole thing about the gods thing. And by the end of the first issue, after being here for just one issue, Reed and Sue have a talk. Yep, they have a talk. Though the very next thing that happened right after this was issue 5, was basically had, well, a whole thing of like a remake of like the tragedy of Julius Caesar. So they kind of go off to another world where basically it's like they actually do some time traveling. Yep, where last issue was an alien planet, now we're time traveling to Roman times. Meeting like various people, and of course seeing spaceships, saying this alien species is not like the Romans per se. It's a very interesting standalone issue. As for what the talk was, don't know. 5AU, 5AU, I've already talked about. It's basically Fantastic Four versus a bunch of Ultrons. Issue 6 is like more time traveling stuff here. Or they basically go to like this strange rock, which looks suspiciously like very similar to the Anti-Monitor. Yeah, it's a very similar looking design, per se. Basically, the tubes. This thing reminds me a lot of the Anti-Monitor. So the thing goes off to space and does a little spacewalk. And apparently there's a person here. And it turns out to be freaking Blastar. Yes, an old Fantastic Four villain. Yeah, freaking Blastar. And then we have the thing blasted, and then he turns into... Oh, he basically becomes that guy from Fear itself. Excuse me, was this with a hammer? Yeah, it's a very similar look. And then goes back to normal, beats the crap out of Blastar, and then Blastar is sent right back up to space by the end of the issue. Or he's pretty much thrown into the sun. Yep. He is thrown into the sun. Yeah, that was shocking to see that. Frickin' Blastar. Who would have thunk basically he would show up here? Yeah. Oh, it's a future Blastar. But it's not the regular 616 Blastar. Just basically a future version. But yeah, it was kind of nice. But this version of Blastar is never seen again. But yeah, that's something to see. Blastar. Yeah, he made his first appearance back in issue 62. He's an enemy of Annihilus. And you're thinking, that name sounds so funny. Annihilus. Yeah, there's been frequent jokes about the name for Annihilus over the years. Yeah. Blastar himself hasn't really appeared all that much over the years. No, it was actually his most recent appearance, believe it or not, was actually Fantastic Four Negative Zone. Yeah, that was his most recent appearance. A miniseries, first issue miniseries that came out 2 years ago. And that was his most recent appearance. And you're thinking, really? Yes, really. Yep. Issue 7 is more time traveling. They want to have this weird looking, this station per se. Meet some aliens. See some more scientific stuff. Seems like a very good stuff. Like, pretty much like every issue here feels very standalone. Yeah, and then Blastar shows up again. Well, I think this might be the actual Blastar. I think it is, if not mistaken. No, this is not the actual Blastar. I think it is. No, it isn't. I don't think so. No, this is not the actual Blastar. It's another imposter. Yeah, it's another imposter. Yeah, it's another future version of Blastar. So once again, we have another Blastar where he dies at the end of the issue. And then issue 8 is something really interesting. Because Ben Grimm has this thing where once a year he turns back into a human. And we have a flashback of his time on Yancey Street. But this is actually a really good pulp issue for Fantastic Four. It takes a break from all the sci-fi stuff mostly. Yeah, and it's mostly mixed in with a little of the present day stuff. Mostly just about Ben Grimm's time on Yancey Street growing up. And it becoming like Ben Grimm fighting a bunch of people. And then like where we're going, like, and of course, like, yes, we're going, and that's the issue. It's an okay issue, issue 8, but in the case of issues overall, I would say the Blastar issues that Blast are really good. Issue 4 is interesting at best. I would say 8 is probably the weakest of these 5 issues. Yes, it's by far the weakest one of all of them. Yep, so that's it for this particular review. Stay tuned for my next review, which is going to be another comic corner, but I'm going to take a little break because I've been doing this for like a half hour. Yep, cheers video. Bye.